Hello, thank you for tuning in to the Multi Podcast. This is your host, Kenya. I hope I can reach your heart, spirit, and mind throughout this time that we'll spend together. God bless you all. Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to the Multi Podcast. This is your host, Kenya. Today, I'm very excited to be here with you guys once again. And I'd like to talk about something regarding relationships. I think it's a question that a lot of people ask, a lot of teens, maybe adults as well. How do I know he or she is the one for me? And it's very complicated. As a young person, you really don't know how to tell if that person is the one for you or if you're going to last a long time with that person. And as you go on in life, you experience and you find things out and you realize that maybe they weren't the ones that were meant for you, but with time you learn. And today I want to touch two different points of views. Today I want to see the point of view of a non-believer and the point of view of a believer. I've been through both. I've experienced both. And I kind of did a little bit of research on both. And honestly, it's quite the same thing. There's not a lot of differences on how to tell if that person is the one for you. And like I said, let's get started. I will start off by talking a little bit about those of you that don't believe in God, how to tell if that person is the one for you. But this goes for both. This goes whether you believe or not. These are my point of views, and I think this is very important in order for you to know if that person is the one for you. Like I said, whether you believe in God or not, this is really important. Make sure you ask yourself these questions. Make sure you go over this and try to be real. Sometimes when we're in love, oh no, he doesn't do that, but deep down they do that. So don't lie to yourself. Be honest. I know you might be in love. I understand that, but you gotta be real. For your safety and for your happiness. You got to be real. You got to be real about this. So the first question is, does he or she make you feel safe? You got to think about this one. When you think about that person, when you think about seeing that person, are you happy? Do you feel safe? Do you feel like, you know what? Yes, this person is coming to see me. I'm really excited. I can't wait. Or are you like, how do I tell this person that I can't see them today because I'm scared or they don't make me feel safe? Think about this one, because this one I really think is important. If you don't feel safe, you got to be honest to yourself. And if you don't feel safe, it's really hard, but you got to be honest, and you got to be true in order for you to be happy. I know you might be in love, but be honest. The second question is, do you see yourself with that person for your whole life? Be honest. It's very different when you're in a relationship than when you get married. I know, I've been through it. Trust me, it's not the same thing to be dating that person than to be married to that person. A lot of things change. And not just from my experience, but I know because I've talked to several people that are married now. And it's a huge change. When you're dating that person, you don't really see how they are. You don't really know if they snore or not unless you've spent time with them, But yeah, it's really hard. You don't know if they're clean. You don't know if they snore. You don't know what goes behind the scenes. Let's just put it this way. So you got to really think about it, just see how the person is acting around you right now. And see if you visualize yourself with that person for the rest of your life. If you don't, you know what? That's not the one for you. Another question is, how well do you know this person? And I put that in quotation marks. How well do you think you know this person? I personally think that we really don't get to know somebody in a couple of years. It takes a long time. I can honestly say right now that I still don't fully know my husband. And we've been together for a long time. Not a long time, but we've been together for several years. And I can honestly say that I really don't know everything about him. So if you've been with that person for only several days or months, how well do you know that person? Do you really know that person? Do you really know their attitude? Do you really know how they are? Do they show you one face when they're around you and then act a different way when they're with their friends, when they're with their family? Are they really nice, or are they not so nice when you're not around? You got to think about those things. How well do you know that person? And I've known relationships that the people get married 2 months in and they work. So it can work differently for everybody, but how well do you know that person? You got to think about that. Does that person respect you? That's also a pretty big thing there. You also got to focus on that. Do they respect you? Do they show respect when you're around their family? Do they show respect when you're around their friends? Because if they act like morons when they're around their friends because they don't want to seem too nice around you or whatever, they think they're the man or even the woman. I'm not sure. It can go either way. But how do they treat you? Do they respect you? Do they really show respect for you? And you got to be honest with this one again. You can't just say, well, he or she said this in front of this person, but they were not in the good mood. And it happens again, and it happens again, and it happens again. So what's going on there, You got to really think about that one. Does that person show you that they love you with actions, not just words? They can be telling you, oh, yes, I love you, I really do love you. I see myself with you my whole life. But they really treat you really bad. Their actions are not exactly what the words that are coming out of their mouth are. That's a bit contradicting, If you're telling me you love me, but you treat me wrong, or you hit me or whatever, do you really love me or not? I think actions are more important than words sometimes, especially when it comes to showing somebody that you love them. You got to really pay attention to that. And do you really trust this person? Do you feel like they can go out with their friends and you can trust that they're going to be loyal to you? Now, I'm not saying be crazy and never let them go out with their friends, or be so controlling and never let them go out with anyone. I'm not saying that. And that's also a sign that you don't trust them. Because if you think that way, then there's no trust at all. So do you really trust this person? Can you trust that they're going to be loyal to you? Can you trust that they're going to be respecting you when they're not around you? You really got to think about that. How much do you trust this person? And I'm gonna start off with some of the things that I found out. You know, I did a little bit of research. I wanted to see how different my thoughts were from what, you know, the internet had to say about how do you know he's the one or she's the one. And they weren't quite that different. Thank God. So I'm gonna. There's a lot of things that you can look at to find out that if that person really is the one. And since there was a lot of things that came to mind, or a lot of a long list of things that you had to pay attention to, I picked 5 of the most important ones to me. Like I said, you can go ahead, look up in the internet, do your research, and don't just go based off on what I say. You know, everybody has their own point of view, everybody has their own thoughts, and yeah, I'm gonna share them with you. I hope they're helpful for you. And the first one is, make sure that you're not chasing that person. You don't want to seem desperate. You know, you don't want to lower yourself more than anything. Don't chase after somebody. If you realize that you're chasing after that person, then you got to understand that's not the person for you. When you have to chase somebody, that means that the other person is not interested in you. And that means that obviously they don't like you. Okay? So if you're chasing after that person, that's one of the signs that he's not the one for you or she's not the one for you. If you constantly have to beg for that person to be with you, to talk to you, you know, to get their attention, that's not the person that's for you. You don't want to let that person know how you really feel if you're chasing them, and then they're going to take advantage of you, and then they're going to end up, you know, lying to you or whatever. If they notice that you're chasing after them, they're going to be like, this person really likes me. If I tell this person to do this, they're going to do it because apparently they really like me because they're chasing me. So don't let them see that. And plus, don't do that to yourself. You know, don't lower yourself so much that you're going to be chasing after that person. I'm pretty sure you're worth more than chasing after somebody else. Just don't do it. Value yourself more. That's more important, you know. The second one is, you'll know if that person is for you when you're good enough for them. When they love you the way you are and how you are. The way you dress, the way you talk, the way you act. If that person is fine with that and they love you how you are and you're good enough for them, then you know that person is for you. They make you feel safe. They make you feel like you're worth much more than what you really are, than what you feel like you really are, you know? They're going to make you feel like the queen, the king, you know? That's how you know that person is for you. They always try to make you feel better when they see that you don't value yourself so much. Because sometimes, I don't know if it happens to men, but to women, sometimes like women, we're like, oh, I don't look good in this dress. I don't look good in this, you know, sweater, outfit, whatever. And if that person is there and they're like, you know what, you look good. You know, you look fine the way you are. And they try to get your self-esteem up, that's how you know that person is the one, you know? Even if you have low self-esteem, but that other person is always trying to get your self-esteem up, that's the one for you. They never try to put you down. They never make fun of you, whether it's about your weight or your looks or the clothes you wear, you know. They never try to tell you, you need to lose weight, you need to gain weight, you need to wear different clothes. Let's just put it this way. They never try to make you somebody that you're not. They accept who you are, and who you are is good enough for them. And another way you know that that person is for you is that you will both manage conflict well. You know, when there's an argument, they won't yell at you with bad words. You know, they won't offend you. They won't disrespect you. And they will try to stay calm, you know, look for ways to solve the problem, but without disrespecting you. And I think that's a big one as well. You know, just seeing that person respects you, you know, seeing that that person will not offend you no matter what the argument is about. They will always respect you. That's a big thing, because if an argument starts and that person immediately starts insulting you, you need to get out of that relationship. You know, you need to get away from that person. That's not the person for you. If an argument breaks down and that person is already yelling at you and cussing at you, they don't respect you. They don't do anything of the above. So get out. Another thing is that you'll notice that there's little drama, or maybe no drama at all. And that's because they try to avoid drama, you know. They try to just make you happy. That person is not trying to create drama. They're not trying to get you angry or say things that they know will cause you to like explode or get all sentimental. And you know, it's somebody that will always try to see you happy. They never want to see you sad or mad. They just want to make you happy. And when somebody just wants to make you happy, what more do you need, you know? And this is another big one. When your family and friends see what you see. Especially your parents, you know, especially if your parents are like, no, that's not the one for you. I don't like that person. Then maybe you shouldn't date that person. I've known from experience, you know, parents have a really good eye for people. They know, and I guess it's just a thing that you know you get when you get older. The more experience you have as you get older, you learn. And yeah, parents are really good at it, you know. Personal experience, like I said, my parents have a good eye for that. If your parents are saying no, and deep down you'll know, deep down you're gonna know, yeah, they're saying no because of this. And be real to yourself, you know. Don't be like, oh no, they're saying no because they don't like this person. Yeah, maybe they don't like them, but there's always a reason why they don't like them. And you have to admit it, you know, deep down. You know it's true. Also, if that person is trying to get you away from your friends or your family, that's a big red flag. When that person is only trying to keep you for themselves, that's a big red flag, you know. That's a no. That's not the person for you. Like I said, if your friends and family see how great of a person that is, and they see what you see, then that's the one for you. Maybe it could be, you know. And they try their best to get along with those you love. You know, that's how you know that person is for you, when they try to always, just like I said, make you happy, have peace with your family members, have peace with your friends. And they might not fully like them, you know, maybe they dislike something about somebody, but they still try to go to those parties, they still try to go to those events with you, because they care about you, they love you, you know. And like I said, happiness, they just want to see you happy. And that's how you know that person is the one for you, when there's no red flags and you have to be honest about it. If you don't see any red flags, that's the one for you. But if you see deep down inside you that there's red flags, just get out of there. Save yourself the trouble, and just, you have to be honest. Leave that person for your own good. And then now I'm going to touch a little bit about my religious point of view. What I believe is things that that person is sent to you by God. Let's just put it that way. A lot of things, like I said, are pretty much the same. So for those of you guys that believe, just all those 5 points that I said are pretty much the same thing. Like, for example, when I said that you're not chasing that person, I strongly believe if that person was sent to you by God, you won't need to chase that person. If God is the one giving you that person, if God knows that that person is the one for you, you won't have the need to be chasing after them, Also, I recommend that you ask God to show you if that person is the one. Pray to God. Ask God, show me signs that this person is the one for me. That it's not just me wanting that person. Because sometimes we fall into that we want that person so bad that we want to think that it's God sending that person to us. And most of the cases, it's not God sending you that person. It's just you wanting that person so bad that you want to believe that's the person God wants for you. And then what ends up happening when that's not the person that God wants for you is that your relationship is not going to work. I can guarantee you're going to get hurt. I can guarantee you're going to regret not listening to God, not obeying what he was trying to tell you. That's not the one for you. You have to really, really, really ask God if that person is the one for you. And another thing that just came to mind is that if that person is your focus, if that person is your whole thing, your whole thought, everything, your everything pretty much, then that's not the one for you. Because whenever somebody else is filling up that number one spot and it's not God, that's a red flag. You should know that that's not the guy for you. He should be after God, in second place. God always has to come first in your life. And if you're giving that person all your effort, all your time, and he is above God, then you need to get out. That's not the one for you. And then, like I said, they respect you when there's arguments. They ask God to guide your relationship. That's very important, that you find somebody that includes God in your relationship, that includes God in everything that happens in your relationship. If that person is not including God or shows respect to God like they should, how are they going to respect you? Even if they say they believe in God, how are you respecting me if you can't even show respect to God? You got to ask about that. You got to ask yourself that question. If they don't put God first, what makes you think that they're going to respect you, that they're going to really be the one for you and putting God in your relationship? That's really important. You got to put God in your relationship. It has to be the person, God, and you. God has to be in the middle of you guys. Obviously, God has to come first, but I'm just kind of giving you an example. You got to let your relationship be guided by God. Unfortunately, when I started my relationship with my husband, we weren't going to church. And I am thankful. I am really thankful for to God for him, for my husband, because even though I didn't know about all this, as I was going through this podcast that I was gonna do, as I was taking notes and writing about all this that I was gonna bring to you guys, as I read every single thing that I wrote, I realized that my husband does all those things. He respects me. He tries to bring me up when I'm down. He always tells me, that I look good. Obviously that's his thought, but like I said, he shows me that he cares. He's there for me. And all those things that I wrote down without even realizing it sometimes, he is everything that I wrote down. And I can honestly say that I'm really blessed and I am really happy because God guided me to that person. And yes, I've had bad experiences, and yes, I've had to learn. And that's why I'm able to now, give you from my personal experience, and tell you those little red flags that you see in that other person. Take them, be true to yourself. If that person is treating you bad, get out of that relationship, and that's another topic I want to touch eventually. Don't stay in a toxic relationship, and do it for yourself and for your family. Like I said, I'm very, very thankful and blessed that my husband is all those things. And now that we are in church, now that we're believers in God, I can honestly say God has become a huge part in our relationship. And I've seen a lot of changes in our relationship when we let God in. When we let God take control of our marriage, of our relationship. There has been so many changes that I can honestly say I look back at my relationship with him before we believed or before we came to Christ. And now I see how our relationship is after we came to Christ. And I can honestly say I don't miss what I had before. It wasn't bad. We were good. My husband has always respected me. He's always given me love. He's always shown respect. He's always tried his best to be, the best he can. And he has been. But obviously there's always little rough edges, rough paths. And now I can honestly say that with God, I feel like we can overcome everything, because when you give God your marriage, your relationship, he can take care of it, and like I said, I say it from personal experience. And if you don't believe, I respect that, but this is my belief. This is what I've lived, and this is why I can honestly tell you that I see a difference when you let God in. And yeah, another thing that for those of my believers, in order for you to know that he's the one, you got to remember that the Bible does say that to not seek a relationship with someone that's a non-believer, and it tells you, here's a Bible verse, it's a 2 Corinthians 6:14. Do not be yoked together with unbelievers, for what righteousness and wickedness have in common? Or what fellowship can light have with darkness? It's straight up telling you there, don't do it. But it happens, and I know it happens. If you end up with somebody that's not a believer, just make sure that that person doesn't get you away from God. Just make sure that that person doesn't try to take you away from church, because if that's the case, then you gotta get out. That's not the person for you. That person is not sent from God or by God, and you just gotta get out. That's not the one. And I'm pretty sure that's pretty accurate. If they're taking you away from God and not bringing you towards God, get out, if that's really important. Just make sure that if you end up with somebody that doesn't believe, don't let them take you away from God. They have to get you closer to God, not further away from God. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have for today. Of course, before I finish, I can't find the picture that I saw one day, but I have it saved in my head. Thank God. And that picture really hit me. It works for believers and non-believers. This doesn't, just have to be for those who read the Bible, for those who believe in God. It actually works for those that don't believe in God as well. And it helps a lot. It's a Bible verse. It's in 1 Corinthians 13, 4-7. And when I read this, I was like, wow, that's so true. It actually works. So what it is, it's pretty much a verse that talks about love. And it was saying that you should put your significant other's name when you read this verse. And if all those things match to that person, then that person is pretty accurately the one. It obviously not for sure, things can happen. I don't want to tell you that person's the one and then you come up to me and be like, you said that? That's how I could know that that's the one. No, I'm just giving you an example. I'm just saying it could work, but yeah, just put your significant other's name, and this is how it goes. So love is patient, and there you can change the name of the person. Instead of love is, you can say my significant other is. So here it goes. Love is patient. Love is kind. Love does not envy. Love does not boast. It's not proud. It's not rude. It's not self-seeking. It's not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. It does not delight in evil. It rejoices with the truth. It always protects. It always trusts. It always hopes. It always preserves. Love never fails. And like I said, you guys can put the name of your significant other, and just go over it, It has pretty good points and words that can help you out there. Remember, it's not proud, it's not rude, it doesn't get angry easily. And the most important to me that I think is a big one here, it keeps no record of wrongs. If that person keeps on bringing up the past, then that's not a healthy relationship, So yeah, this is all I have for you guys today. Thank you for tuning into the Multi Podcast. It has been a pleasure to be with you guys once again, and you'll hear me next time. God bless you all.